arguing the petition and coming out with a decision or a determination can be done. But we would agree with the sentiments that this law in relation to petitions should be looked at. But more important question is not just the victory that we have won. And I think this victory is a victory for the people of Kenya. It expresses the sovereignty of the people of Kenya, that them, through Article 140 of the Constitution, made it possible for any qualified party to challenge a presidential election, which must be held in accordance with the Constitution. But the big question which has come out from this judgment is that the court has found, with a majority decision of 4 judges, that there was systemic and systematic violations of the law within the IEBC. And what they are saying is that the IEBC as an institution has a problem, and it committed illegalities and irregularities which made it possible for this decision to be rendered. Some of those illegalities were clear violations of the law, especially in the transmission of the results. And in the very, very well-articulated judgment of the majority, a lot of questions were posed as to how some of these forms 34A and 34B, and even the final form 34C, which was used to declare the results, that all those forms were either forgeries. It was put in a rhetorical way, but they were either forgeries or they were not genuine forms which had been printed as required with this required security features. So on that account, it has been established by a majority decision of this court, and that is the decision of the court, that there are those illegalities which now begs the question, is this the end of the matter? And our belief is that this is not the end of the matter. As you know, the chairman himself, consequent to what we raised in this petition, and through memos that he has now been in the public domain, he has himself raised so many questions which border on some infractions of the law and criminal conduct on the part of the officials, some of the officials within IEBC. And some of these questions were directed to Mr. Chiloba, and he has made an attempt, and you know the chairman is working in very difficult conditions. He has made an attempt to either suspend or dismiss some officials within the IABC for specific reasons, including the director of ICT and 2 officials who had unauthorized access to the database using the chairman's password or authorization. This is a matter that requires full investigations, and the Director of Public Prosecution did promise that at the end of this case and after the decision has been rendered, he is going to fully investigate this matter and bring the responsible parties to book. In our view, therefore, the IBC headquarters is for all intents and purposes a crime scene that should be preserved and documentation and materials preserved for purposes of carrying out these investigations. On our part, on the basis of what we have, we are prepared to give assistance to the Director of Public Prosecutions to ensure that the IBC as presently constituted does not include those who have authored these unfortunate violations of the law. And I want to finish before I hand over to the Prime Minister that the country may be bordering on a constitutional crisis of grave proportion. A constitutional crisis in the sense that the powers that the president would normally enjoy were extinguished very substantially on the 8th of August 2017. And after the 8th of August, he was exercising temporary powers of incumbency. And the danger that we now find ourselves in is that if the elections are not held within 60 days, then he will not have the constitutional authority or legitimacy to continue to be in that office. If you read the Constitution purposively and have a constructive interpretation of the Constitution, Articles 138 to 140, you will find that the president, when not constitutionally in office, there would be a requirement that you have an acting president who is not the incumbent president until an election is held. So this particular constitutional crisis that we are getting ourselves into must be resolved as quickly as possible. And that can only happen if we have an election conducted in accordance with the Constitution. And the IBC is not going to run away from it, because the court has spoken very loudly that they cannot conduct any other election except an election held and conducted within the provisions of the Constitution. And they said that if the IBC does not do that, if another petition is brought before them, they will make the same decision. So we have got two competing requirements of that of holding the elections within 60 days from the 1st of September, or if an election is not held within 60 days, then the end of Uhuru's occupancy of State House or any other office, all other offices, physical offices, and constitutional powers ends at the end of those 60 days. I'm saying this because he did say that, he is still acting president until another president is elected. That is not the law.